Well, when I was in Washington, D.C. last month, I had my choice of seminars that I could attend when I went to the National Prayer Breakfast. And one of the seminars that I chose because the speakers for the seminar were one Christian and three Muslims that were teaching the seminar. And it was about building relationships between Christians and Muslims. How can we have reconciliation and build good bridges? And I kind of see myself as a bridge builder. And so I decided that I was going to go to that seminar and see what they had to say. So went to the seminar, and they started off with really some very insightful and helpful things in the seminar. They talked about how the big piece of common ground between Islam and Christianity is Jesus. And the people who were the Muslims said, hey, even the Quran teaches that Jesus was a great prophet, that he taught good things, that he did amazing miracles, and that he's coming back one day to judge the living and the dead. And they said that's a place of common ground that you can build an awful lot of commonality on. And I think that's absolutely true. There's some great common ground there that we could build on, build strong relationships. Well, the tone turned just a little bit when a wise and insightful person from the audience asked the question. They said, well, I know that in Surah 4 in the Quran, it teaches that Jesus was not crucified, that he in fact wasn't killed. And of course, if he wasn't crucified, then he could not have risen from the dead. You know, what do you do in your relationships when you come to that point about talking about the things that we maybe disagree on? Well, the Christian guy who was a missionary kind of tried to weasel around some linguistic issues with the Arabic version of what was said in Surah 4 in the Quran, and maybe it didn't really mean that. And then the two Muslims who were sitting next to him, who were both from the Middle East, they said, you know, if you want to build relationships with Muslims, it's a good idea to avoid talking about the cross or about the resurrection of Jesus. But the person I had the most respect for was actually the fourth person on the panel. He was an imam who was raised in Oklahoma and led a mosque, a very influential mosque in Boston. He was actually very intelligent and very likable at the same time. And he said, look, guys, we just need to be honest about this. There is no credible Muslim scholar anywhere who would say that Jesus died or that he was crucified or that he rose from the dead. It's just a point that we disagree on. And then he said, as a matter of fact, it's the crux of everything. And then somebody else jumped in and said a little something after he was done, but I hung on that comment where he said, it's the crux of everything. Because he knew the Christian worldview enough to know that the cross is the center of everything that we believe and teach. You can't get to Jesus without the cross. You can't understand God's plan for eternity without the cross. You can't live the life that God wants you to live without the cross. You miss the heart of God if you miss the cross. And not only is that true, kind of in an intellectual form, but it's also true that he used that phrase, it's the crux of everything, and he gave kind of a sly smile like he knew that that was a double entendre. Because the word crux has the same root words as the word cross. And that phrase, the crux of everything, comes from the Christian worldview, which sees the cross as the center of everything. So when he says it's the crux of everything, he's actually referring back towards the Christian worldview in the midst of that. So because of the centrality of the cross, we are going to be doing a 4-week series on the cross. And we've called this series Nexus, because Nexus is a word that means connection point. It's the place where things connect with each other, and everything connects at the cross. History connects at the cross. Theology connects at the cross. Philosophy connects at the cross. People connect at the cross. People and God connect at the cross. The cross is the nexus of the entirety of the world. So the next 4 weeks, we'll tackle this from a theological angle, from a missiological angle, from a historical angle, and then I want you to prepare for an amazing climax on Good Friday, when we'll take the story angle and relive all of this richness in story form. It's going to be a very powerful month for us together.